Well, welcome everybody. A special welcome to Mary and Deondre, who are both past students or graduates, I should say, of the Fashion Lab. And they've been doing some really wonderful things post-graduation. So I wanted to give all of our current students an opportunity to hear their stories and what they've been up to and how they made space for themselves in apparel design. So before we get started, let me go ahead and tell you a little bit more about them before I allow them to introduce themselves. So here is Mary. So Mary Made, she's the owner of Marc Couture Empire. She's a versatile fashion designer specializing in custom made-to-measure clothing that reflects individuality, confidence, and creativity. Mary sees fashion as a language, an expressive art form that allows people to tell their story without saying a word. And she takes pride in transforming ideas into, hold on, let me mute Natalia. Transforming ideas into beautifully tailored pieces, paying close attention to detail, quality, and fit. With experience designing for clients of all styles and occasions, her goal is always to ensure each person feels seen, celebrated, and stylish. And Mary is in the process of expanding her brand online so she'll be able to reach more clients and make personalized, high quality fashion more accessible. So that's Mary. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
And here we have Deondre. So fulfilling a lifelong dream, Bermuda-born designer Deondre Cumberbatch debuted her bridal line in 2025 as part of Le Fashion Lab's fashion showcase. A multifaceted designer, she is also proud of her contribution to theater productions, films, and TV as a wardrobe supervisor, tailor, alteration specialist, and vintage garment restorer from the 1800s to present. Selected theater credits include costume designer for theater productions such as A Raisin in the Sun, James Brown, the musical, and The Erased. And the list keeps going. So Deondre has also worked at concerts for Blackpink and Janet Jackson and more. A proud alumnus of the Fashion Design and Garment Construction program at Le Fashion Lab, Deondre hopes to continue serving others with her thoughtful approach to bespoke designing, tailoring, and alterations for people with. Welcome, Deondre.
Hello, everyone.
And Deondre is on the job right now. So, right, Deondre?
I am. So if it's loud, because the show has started, so if it gets too loud, I will move. I don't know if can you hear the music?
No, it's actually pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Perfect.
good.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing I wanted to ask both of you, and you can feel free whichever one of you want to start first, is what motivated you to enter the fashion industry? Mary, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can. Actually, I'll say, I'm from Nigeria. So I grew up, surrounded by a lot of creativity, culture, and craftsmanship. So in Nigeria, fashion is like a major form of storytelling. And, seeing how people express themselves through clothing it really, really inspired me. So I wanted to create pieces that made people feel confident, beautiful, and, kind of connected to their identity. So that passion is what pulled me into fashion.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, and we do tend to have a lot of Nigerian students because just like Jamaica, we're somewhat familiar with people doing custom-made clothing, right? Yeah. How about you, Deondre? What motivated you?
Our motivation was really problem solving for me. So the women in my family from the Caribbean, we have large hips, small waist, large legs. So we could never find clothing that would fit the waist and the bottom naturally. And it really just started from just wanting to fix those issues and having clothes that could fit us. And then having something that looks good instead of just wearing oversized clothing, which usually hides our curves, hides our figure, and it doesn't flatter. So finding a way to make clothes that fit our bodies, we can look good and be fashionable, that's why I do it.
Wonderful problem solving. So, both of you, tell us more about your business. What do you do, and who is your customer?
Mhm.
Go for it.
Okay. Should
Mhm.
I go first?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So majorly, I'll say I design custom apparel, everything from tailored pieces to special occasion wear. Um, my brand focuses mainly on, blending African inspired elements with the modern contemporary fashion. So my customers are mostly women and, few men who value unique, well-crafted designs. And I tailor, I'll say I focus mainly on what fits perfectly and can tell the story. Although I'm planning 2026, I want to go deeply into kids.
Oh, okay.
Um, that is still, in the pipeline, but for now, it's mainly women and few men. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a reason you decided to go into kids?
I noticed that since I've been in the US and I go to stores, I go from stores to store, I just realized that kids are, I'll say, being left behind in fashion because it looks like almost all the stores that I go to, I find almost the same design. Like you can, I don't know if I'm permitted to mention, brands. Like if you go to Children Place and you go to Macy's, it's still like almost the same thing you see over the years. Like the styles that you see for last year are still the same thing you see this year. So I'm thinking like there's something I can do to, you know, kind of remember the kids and let them also enjoy what fashion is.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. That's interesting. Once again, you're solving a problem too, something that you see is missing. So,
Uh-huh.
so what about you, Deondre? Who is your customer? You already started to tell us a bit about that, but tell
Yeah.
us more about that.
So my customer is really people that have curves. So I know there's a category of plus size, and then I'm trying to kind of pop that bubble. So if you have curves on your arms, some aunties, they have the lymphedema or there's like extra, they can't find shirts that fit the arm. Some have different size arms. So if there's a curve for men and women, that's kind of what I specialize in. So if you have larger breasts, but you have like little legs, I can make you a dress that feels just as beautiful as if you were standard size. And it just goes on and on. I just recently made a pair of pants for a woman who she had surgery to remove like cancerous tumors from her legs. So one leg was super large, the other one was pretty normal. So where is she gonna find pants that are going to
Mhm.
satisfy her body measurements? Plus, some women, especially, they always think they have to lose weight to look good in really nice clothing. But I'm like, girl, I fit the body as it is right now. But that's what I usually do. So the people that need specialized care in clothing, they always find me.
Got it. You know, DeAndre, one of the things I think you do really well is, first of all, you're really good at fit. I've seen like all the various size models that you've been able to fit through our fashion show and also the Faces show that you recently did.
Yes, yes.
And you're also very quick. You're very speedy. You can do it in a short amount of time. So yeah, you're definitely gifted in that sense.
Thank you.
And yeah, did you want to say something? Am I cutting you
No,
off?
I was just thank you very much for recognizing. I've been, well, I'll get to that part later, but yeah, it's taken some time to get there.
Got it. I can imagine. Yes. And both of you, tell us how you got started in the industry. I think that's something that would be helpful for our students to know. So, what got you started? How did you do it?
Okay.
Andre, you want to go first since Mary
Yeah,
keeps going first?
share. I'll make it short, but I do share This is my why. So my grandmother, she sewed everything, upholstery, her clothing, curtains. But here's what happens. So she had a favorite dress that she could fit into when she was younger. She was um plus size, you can say, and she couldn't fit in it anymore. It wasn't until she got sick with cancer that she could fit into that dress again. But it wasn't until that point that I got to see my grandmother happy and twirling and smiling in her clothing. So that's kind of my why. And I think just thinking about just what it is that I'm doing, like I'm very intentional about allowing someone to feel good as they are in their body, wearing the clothes that I'm making for them. I don't know if I've answered your question. I think I veered off just a little bit, um, but that's basically it. Just long story short.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
what do you think was that thing that transitioned you from being a student to now I'm working and I'm earning money? What got you that start?
Um, it goes back to the problem solving again, because I tried to get into like the standardized thinking and building the brands. It just didn't work because those clothes weren't for me. So then I had to start thinking, well, what clothes can fit my body? How am I serving myself in turn then serving other people? So the industry isn't really open to suggestions. It likes what it likes, but I've forged a way in creating an industry for myself. And then, you get to be creative and kind of put your little spins on things and try different techniques and skills. So it's all fun and it's open. It's open.
Would you say too, because I know a little bit about your background, would you say that your first break started in like costume and then you kind of just built on that? Or no?
Really, Nicola? It was actually making clothing, custom, bespoke clothing.
Good.
So yeah, so I think who was my first customer. So yeah, I was making clothes for people. I was working at an African clothing store, and they would tell people, oh, we got everything made in Nigeria or in Africa when these things were made in New York. So
Oh,
just out of integrity, I used to start suggesting like, hey, if you have any ideas or you see something online, I can make it for you. Like I was just very confident in what I could do. So then when I started getting a lot of clients in this African shop, I knew that like, oh yeah, making clothes for people is definitely something I wanted to do. And then from there, it was like, okay, who am I serving? And then it just built. It built from there. So yeah.
got it, got it. And you, if I remember correctly, you were always pretty clear that you did want to fill that space for the curvy customer. You did know that.
Yeah, it was always plus size, it was always curvy. I don't think that well, now it's changing, but when I started, nobody was seeing that. Nobody was accepting that regular bodies are actually not a size 8, and even how they fill out. Because if you've done grading, even to the students, if you've done grading, you know that they grade from a size 8, but the body changes after a certain point, and some body parts grow bigger, larger than some others, but no one in the industry doesn't recognize this as a sustainable and profitable thing. So then they just stick to their standard sizes, and that's where me and Mary fill in the gap.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Mary, what's your response to that? Like, what helped you transition from I am a student to now I'm making money? What did that for you?
Uh, well, okay. I'll start by saying, okay, from the home where I came from, my mom, she's a retired nurse, but she's always believed that, um, she's always believed in handwork. She always tells us that nobody can take that from you. They can hire you to fire you, but whatever you have in your brain is in your brain. So my mom she had always sent us, like, when I was in the university and we're on break, she always sent us to go out and do something. So I'll say that was how I started. And then when I graduated, I couldn't get a job on time. And she was like, just, what do you like? Like, what do you like to do? And I noticed that fashion designing is something that I don't like. I don't get tired of just thinking about it. Like, it gives me this joy from within. Like, growing up, I can see someone wearing a dress and I'll be like, oh, if they had done it this way, I think it would have suited this person better. I wasn't a designer then, but I could just, I could just tell a story from whatever anybody is wearing, and I could see it within me that it could be better. So when I see people wearing something, I'm like, because this is in vogue doesn't mean you should wear this. I mean, you should have maybe probably, wear this. And it goes back to what Deondre said. Like, my first clients were people who, I mean, mothers who had they've had babies and now they have big tummies, and they can't just find something to suit you know, their body. So I'm this designer that I'll come and tell you, okay, if you want this style, this exact style that you brought to me, we can make it in such a way that you can wear the same style, but just add little effects to hide your tummy, and you don't have to wear girdle and be uncomfortable. So that was how I started. I started locally. My boss then, of blessed memory, she's passed now, trained me. I did this training locally by about 6 months, and then transitioned when I traveled to South Africa. That was actually where I started, like, making clothes for people and earning money. And I remembered that when I was in South Africa, I didn't have the money. I didn't have money to buy machine. So I had to, start braiding for people. I braided for about 6 months to gather money to buy my first machine. And that was how I started. So the moment I started sewing clothes I started with choir in the church. Like, when they have events, they reach out to me. And at first it was scary. Like, before I start cutting fabric, I'll be like, I'll pray, like, God, please help me. Because I
Yeah.
hope I have to pay back for the fabric. But yeah, it started when I see people wear my clothes and it gives them joy, and the feedback that I get, that just, helped me going. So I began by, creating pieces for friends. Initially, I wasn't even doing it for money. I knew it was going to get to a point where I'll start earning money, but because of the fear, the fear, like, I don't know if they're going to accept it. I don't know if they're going to like it. I don't know if it's going to suit them. And then, because I started making for friends, they bring out the mistakes and I'm able to correct it because you didn't pay for it. So with that, I started, and the fear started, leaving. And then later on, the demand grew, and people were drawn to the way I blend the traditional influences and modern styling. So that was the idea. I mean, that was how I started, and it eventually became business. And then when I got to the US, the fear came in again, because now I left Africa to come here. It's the belief, everything is different. So the fear was like, how am I going to blend, what I'm bringing to what they already have here? And that was how Fashion Lab came in. So, so when I got to Fashion Lab, it really, really, helped me. I grew faster because now, with the help of Miss, can I
You
mention
can
her
say
name?
names. Yeah, you can say names.
Miss Marvel. She really made everything look simple. Like, all the fear that I had, all the things that I thought it was mountains, like, will I be able to ever cross this? She bridged the gap. Like, she always, I'm sure everybody here have met her one way or the other. She's a wonderful instructor. She made everything just simple for me, and with the team that I had, my colleagues then. We all had different ideas and were able to bring all the ideas together to make it work. So yeah, that's it. And I'm still growing, and fashion designing is something, if you wake me up in the middle of the night to do,
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I never get tired of it because fashion is, to me, is life.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so wonderful. That's so wonderful. I love that you touched on the topic of fear, because I think that that's universal, and a lot of our students feel that way or have some amount of fear with the idea of just getting out there. So it's good for them to hear how you can work through that fear. Yeah, by starting with friends and family, maybe even doing it for free until that
Okay.
confidence builds. Yeah.
And I'm gonna add one more thing. I also learned by what do you call it?
What
When you are
trial?
made alterations, like when people bring things that I didn't make them, but they bring stuff for me to alterate. Um, I kind of I'm interested in knowing what the person did, like the designer that designed the dress, the skirts, the top. I learned a lot of things by just sometimes I go to the store for window shopping, not because I'm buying anything, but because I want to see what's trending. And you see me when I'm in the store, you think I'm crazy. Like I kind of, turn the dress inside out and see what they did inside. You know,
Too.
it, I mean, it has really helped me a lot. Like it was through that I even got to know about, like, there was this wedding dress that I made. I was so scared the first time because that was my first time of doing a big project. It was a big project, a wedding dress. So it was big for me. And when the lady came to me, she's an American. And I mean, I took it in good faith. But when she left, I'm like, God, you need to help me. So I went back to all the instructions Miss Marvel gave, like how you start. Like I went back to those steps. And when this lady wore her dress, because she actually invited me for the wedding, she said, "Oh, you made my dress, you have to be there." I got to the reception, girl. I didn't believe that came from me.
Oh, wow.
Like I was literally crying, like when I saw the dress and the way everybody just came, they were taking pictures. And she's on the big side, and she told me she's gone to virtually all the bridal stores, and she couldn't find anything that could suit her body shape. So I started by sketching, sketching for her. And I think I sketched about 3 or 4, and she was able to pick one. And then I also gave her the advice because she was thinking about how much it's going to put into the dress. And I'm like, most wedding dresses, you only have to wear it for just that occasion. And at the end of the day, it becomes a waste because, I mean, where else will you be wearing a wedding dress to? So I came up with the idea that we can make it like 2 in 1. We can make the dress in such a way that she can, the big part can be detachable. And then when she gets to the reception, she can just take out the big part and she just has the normal flowing dress, which she can still wear for dinner and all of that. And she was like, nobody ever gave me that kind of idea. Girl, let's do it. And we did it and it worked. And since then, she became my permanent customer.
Mary, that's
Yeah.
so wonderful. That's problem solving again and
Yeah.
innovation.
So it just comes like that. The fear will come, definitely. When I started, the fear, the financial stability, fear of competition, like, there are a lot of designers out there. And, I don't know, I wasn't sure if people would understand my design style. There was also another lady I made wedding dress for. She's a Kenyan married to a Jamaican. And when she told me she wanted to make a wedding dress, she was specific. She said, I don't want it to be like the regular wedding dress. I want the traditional style in the wedding dress. So it was actually African fabric we used in making the wedding dress. It was beautiful. I was making the dress. I wasn't sure of the outcome.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been in that kind of situation. I was doing it,
Mhm.
but I wasn't sure what the outcome would be. But I kept going because I know that it won't be that bad. But it eventually came out the best, So yeah, the fear will come, but you just have to overcome the fear. You have to take the reasonable risk. It's worth it if that's your passion. Go for it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So wonderful. Both of you, what would you say right now is your proudest fashion design achievement or moment?
Well, let me go.
All right.
My proudest achievement is continuous. If that makes sense. I'm not sure if it makes sense, but it's continuous. It's not like I have a specific proudest moment. But I'll say my proudest achievement is when I see my clients wear my designs with pride, especially at weddings. I've made a lot of dresses for graduations, for prom, milestone events. So when I see them wear my dress, and when when you make custom outfit for people and they are so they are quick to sending you pictures. You know what that means? Like, see your handwork, and when a lot of people call me, can you remember the dress you make? I got your number from so person. I can't even remember the client. And be like, oh, you made a dress for somebody in Texas, and I'll just be like, okay, how can I help you? Because a lot of them I can't remember, but that's speaking about your handwork, what you've done. They won't call you if what you made wasn't nice. So and right now, most of my clients are not even based in Georgia. Like, they are all over the place. A lot of them, I don't even, have to take their measurement myself. We just do measurement over the phone, a video call, and I send to them, and it's perfect. It's God's doing, handwork, not being lazy, yeah.
Let me ask you a question before I allow Deondre to respond. How do you handle clients who are not locally based?
Okay. So first of all, you have to know the rules. Thanks to Miss Marvel. You have to know the rules of measurements. I remembered in the days when I was still in class, you know how we use the mannequin to take measurements, and that's just the same idea that I use. Like, you have to, my clients are on video call, I'm right there, and I'm telling them, I'm using my mannequin right where I am, and telling them, okay, take the measurement from here. They have to have somebody beside them to do it for them, and move it from here to here. Let me see, move it closer, like that. That's how I've done measurements, and for the most part, there hasn't been, complaints. So a lot of them, especially if it's maybe like an event where there's something in Nigeria we call ashwebi. Ashwebi is more like I'm having my wedding and I want everybody to put on the same outfit. You can make different styles, but it has to be the same fabric, the same outfit. So I'm the bride, I'm the one selling. I sell the fabric because I'll order in bulk. So sometimes, like, the last one I had was from New Jersey, and they had to mail those fabrics to me. I think they mailed about 20 thereabout to me, and then I had to take their measurement over the phone. Some of them I may have to travel. So, like, there was a time I had to travel to Texas because the demand was a lot. So I had to, go there, take the measurement myself, brought the fabrics back here, do the sewing, then took the dresses back to Texas. So when I got to Texas back, I had to, I was in the hotel. I had to go to Joann's Fabric, and I got a machine there just for, to amend or adjust for some people. And that was how I did it. And for the most part, yeah, it works. Yeah.
You know what I love about that is, like, no excuses. You're gonna do a good job. Yeah, if you need to travel to get this measurements good, like, I'm gonna travel. If it means I need to run and go to Joann's and get a quick machine, that's what I love. Like, no excuses. They're gonna get this done.
For failure. Because you're not the only one out there. There are lots of designers out there. So for people to reach out to you, you have to give your best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Deondre? So what's your proudest fashion design achievement or moment?
I was listening to Mary, and honestly, I think there has been a progression. So I'm gonna say progression, and I'll explain. I was told sewing wasn't a job. So to be so busy in sewing as my main career, making money, it has literally grown from nothing to like I'm always working. But the progression is literally from like Mary, making things for your friends and your family, and then you get your first client. And then from there, you're like, okay, well, how is it going to continue? How am I going to make money from it? But my favorite moments are when I'm looking at the pattern, the paper pattern, or I'm looking at like I'm cutting, and then it doesn't look good. I put it together, and then you put it on her body or on their body, and you see them. And then when they see themselves and they're twirling, so it's not just one. It's similar to what Mary said. It's what's the next garment that I'm making, and then oh my goodness, the skill gets better, and then the technique increases, and then the like maybe the applique that's applied, or maybe the beading that's applied, like all of these things that you did, and now it's walking the runway, and you thought you wasn't gonna make it. Like there's tears that come when you see something that you made and it's now on either the red carpet or it's on a show, and now people are watching the play, and the garment is the thing that tells the story in the play, and there's nothing I can explain except for cheer, like just proud of just everything. And it has escalated to where okay, I'll give you a great example. So more recently there was a music video for Dawn Carroll, and they paid $3,000 to get this dress made. The dress came in and she looked like a linebacker. It didn't match the pictures at all. And then what they did is they called me in and was like, hey, we've seen your work. We wanted you to come in and fix it. So this is an example of alteration. But I had to take that garment completely apart to make a brand new garment. And then to see the music video, I'm like, I did that. Like Barry was saying, it's like, did I do it? And sometimes you just have to pause and just remember everything is going to get you to the next thing. Take challenges, because the challenges are going to stretch you and you never know who you're going to see. And you'll be surprised. Like I just came back from New York Fashion Week, and that was probably the end of my tour. I've been on tour all year. I've been on a fashion tour all year, and that was the end of my fashion tour. I did not think I was going to make it. And to see all of those women wearing these garments, you could have pinched me, because there was no way I thought I was going to be able to get it done in time. So I'm gonna say the progression of things, just believing in me, because everyone else still thinks like, oh, this is a little hobby, but I'm paying my mortgage. I'm paying the mortgage, And if I can add to the progression, people will never understand unless you're talking to someone that gets it. And that's okay. Not even your family or your friends. You're going to always be sewing. You're going to always be busy. How come you don't hang out? And that's okay. When they see how it fits into their lives, they will catch up with you. And then you can say, hey, you finally caught up. And that's going to be okay. Because that plays a part of the fear. Because I've had friends be like, I don't think sewing, like, you shouldn't do it. My best friends, when I told them I was starting the Fashion Lab, they told me that they didn't want to be friends anymore.
What?
Because they didn't think it was a good idea. We are not friends right now. But it's not because I don't want to be friends with them. It's just like, oh, I don't think it's a good idea for you to be doing this. Like, but I was miserable before I took it seriously. And Miss Mava, she never said no. She never said no. and she always indulged my childlike curiosity, and she answered every question. So I don't know if she'll ever see this, but she knows how I feel about her.
Well, Marva is like you guys. She's passionate. So when you come to her with a challenge, it intrigues her because this is what she breathes. Passion, and she breathes getting it right and the fit and the problem solving. So she does love that part of both of you guys when you challenge her. I wanted to say something, but also ask Deondre a follow-up question. So I wanted to point out the role of alterations because something that I constantly say to students is you're not going to become like Vera Wang or Marc Jacobs overnight, and it might not be that might not be your first opportunity. It might be that your first opportunity seems kind of modest, but the idea is to be able to set aside ego to see that your career builds itself on stepping stones, right? They're like building blocks to get you to that point where you're proud of yourself. So both of you mentioned alterations and being able to look at like garments that are previously made when customers bring them to you, and that helps you to build on top of your garment construction skills, right?
Yes.
Deondre, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned your tour. Can you tell us more about your tour?
Okay, so after the Fashion Lab, so the Fashion Lab's fashion show was the second show that I did, the fashion show. But on tour with fashion is when I started my brand DVoncii, I knew that I was starting from zero. So the only way for me to, I guess, be seen, get myself in front of people that will take me seriously for the idea, the niche, I knew I needed to invest my time, my energy, my money into building a brand and then taking it on tour. So there was a show every month, and I would go to different cities, different states, and we would literally do a fashion show. And when I tell you from the get, like the challenges, they're absolutely real. It was the first time that we had, or that I had ever said, let's do a curvy collective. So if you know fashion shows, you know that there's usually the standard size 2 to 4. Like 4 is probably the biggest that they would ever do. What I challenged the production company was, let's do a curvy collective where all of the models were curvy. And it was so great. I was so grateful to Nicola and to Michelle for the Fashion Lab fashion show, because I was like, well, I only have 4 curvy girls. And they were like, well, we'll figure it out. And the girls that they gave me were fantastic. So this is how it looked. I would make clothes based on the model. They would come to my studio and I would do their measurements. I would make clothes specifically for their person, their personality type. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit more, but I'll touch on that later. But yeah, they would walk for me. The challenge is now I'm taking those same clothes and they've been customized to the person's body, but now I'm taking them to another city, another state. Now, what I would do is I would actually make maybe 4 garments new, but I wouldn't have seen the model until I physically get to that state. So similar to Mary, we would talk on the phone, do a Zoom call, take the measurements, and then when we see each other, I would do the alterations if there's any tucks or nips I needed to do. But I'm literally going from state to state. And I can give you more information, whether it's like the traveling, because let me tell you, I thought it would be cheaper to take the Greyhound with 38 garments. It was a mess, and I can share more about that. I don't want to monopolize the conversation, but yeah, so on tour, they have production companies. If you're interested in that, be prepared to just invest this is a service company. So you are in the service. Like, it's not really about you. Yeah, it's your clothing, but you're really advertising yourself to serve someone else. And it's just, yeah, just take a minute to think if that's really what you wanted. If I could do it over, I probably wouldn't have gone on tour. I would have done it a little differently, because also the production companies are out for themselves as well. So that's another conversation to have. But in terms of the models, there is a culture in runway modeling that is very toxic and very dangerous for designers. So be prepared to be humble, to pivot, to move. But in terms of the clothing, just make whatever your heart desires and then reel it back. Because if you try to make what's popular or try to copy other designers, it's not going to work. So the last thing I would say about tour is you got to find your way. You got to find your way to these places. So sometimes I drove, I flew sometimes, and then sometimes I took bus. But yeah, you have to be able to know the body, understand how the body moves, and then understand how the bodies are different. So she can be 38 bust. The next model could be a 38 bust, but then her waist is smaller and then her hips are larger. How are you going to take the same garments and then adjust it to different models as you're on tour? So it's a whole conversation. We can talk about that after if you want to, if you're interested.
Wonderful, wonderful. Both of you are experts in fit. And I think there's such a big space and opportunity for custom-made apparel these days that's not readily available. So I think you've both carved a space for yourself. Let me ask you this now. What does your creative process look like, both of you? Mary, let's go with you first. Unless you need some more time to think.
My creative process, I'll say it usually starts with inspiration, colors, the texture, culture. I can even say, or maybe conversation with clients. So I sketch first, and then I choose the fabric, and build the design piece by piece. The kind of person that love designing with meaning. So every of my collection starts with a concept or message. I said that to say that, some clients they just have something in their head and that's what they want. But they don't even care if it's going to suit them or not. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense.
It makes sense, yeah.
Some of them just see a style, like you see say for example, you see a style on Nicki Minaj. And you bringing the style to me, you're probably a size 22. And you expect the dress to look exactly the way it looks on Nicki Minaj or Beyonce to look the same way on you. So you have to I don't make dresses that don't have meaning. So that way you have to have the skill of customer service relationship skills, to be able to convey your message properly. That way you're not offending your customer, and at the same time you're not making rubbish, if that makes sense. So you have to look for a way. I always like to look for a way to convey my message, like, okay, let's bring out this style this way. Okay, this is Nicki Minaj, or this is Beyonce, and this is you. So there's still always a way to go around it, to have something like that. It may not be exactly like that, because you are not Nicki Minaj. You don't have the same waist as she does. You don't have the same hips. Like let me give you an example. There was this client that introduced me to another client, and the person she introduced me to chose a jumpsuit. She wanted a jumpsuit. So she came to me and I took her measurements, and then a friend who has always been my customer told me she wanted the same style as her friend. So I'm like, well, let me just be truthful. You can't have the same as she does. Because first of all, she doesn't have kids yet. She is figure 8. She has the perfect figure for the style she chose. But this lady that has been my customer for like forever, she a bust. She she has a broad shoulder. Let's start with that. A broad shoulder, and this jumpsuit is supposed to be a tube. So I'm like, I can make it for you, but I wouldn't want them to ask you out there that what engineer made this, because nobody will see that style on you and say a designer made it. And she got upset with me. She was like, no, you can't tell me what to do. I said, well, I'm not trying to tell you what to do or what to wear, but as your designer, I think I should be able to advise you.
Mary, is she African?
Yeah.
Is she African?
Of course she is, you know.
Okay.
we can still make something like that, but we need to add some effects, like the jumpsuit is supposed to just be a straight jumpsuit. For you, we can add a flare under the bust, you know, something just to make it. She was so upset. Eventually she came back. She's a medical doctor. She came back and told me, oh, now I understand what you're saying. She eventually came back to my level, and we're able to, you know, make something that suits her body type.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah,
that's important too. If I can piggyback.
Yes.
When you're starting, please study body types.
very important.
I feel like that is a superpower when you can look at someone and you can say, you know what, she has a triangle body type. So here's the preferred styles that will like make her look right? That's going to be very, very, very important. Study body type. If you want to go the extra level, also study skin tone so that they can understand what colors will bring out their undertones. Yeah, it's very, very important because they don't know. They really don't know.
Yeah.
They don't. See something like it, but they don't know. They don't know what they.
I love what you had to say too, Mary. I love the fact that you said that there is this middle ground. You have to have strong interpersonal skills, but there's this middle ground between being honest in a direct way, but as diplomatically as possible. Because at the end of the day, what you put out there is a reflection of your skills, right? And then sometimes people won't be able to distinguish that the garment was well made, it just didn't fit the person's body type. And then they're going to look at you as the designer and say, you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. Even the patterns, it's not all patterns that fit all heights. Like, you know, some fabrics that comes in, like, let's say, this is vertical, vertical patterns, those shock people more. While, you know, when you have the horizontal, it suits tall people more. When a short person wears a pattern that is like horizontal, it makes them look shorter. So all that, you just have to, you know, make it make sense. Yeah.
Wonderful. Such good information. I just have a very simple question for both of you. Do you have your businesses licensed, or do you have a LLC, or do you just do like doing business as a DBA?
I do have a license.
Okay. Deondre, you have a license too?
I do have a license.
Both of you are LLCs?
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be important when you do take it seriously and take it to the next level that you are licensed, because the taxes are going to be very, very important. So I was working out of a studio, and that's pretty much straightforward. But then the studio burnt, or the store next door to me burnt down, and the building was sold. So now I have my studio at home. Here's the benefit of the LLC. Now my house is under the LLC, and a lot of the things that I'm using, like even when I have the interns or my employees coming, my assistant, them using the bathroom, I can write off the toilet paper, like little things like that. It's going to be so important for just getting the business side of it straightened out. Because those taxes, honey, they will still ask you for those, even if you didn't calculate those into your final cost of your garments.
Yes, correct. I agree as well, because then your office space, you can write that off as a certain square footage of your,
percentage of my electricity is used because I'm using it during the day. Little things like that really add up. And if I can just touch on the creative process as well.
Oh, yes, I forgot you.
That's okay. So I don't start, I like to start with either fabric or the body. So right now I have a few models that I'm going to, like I call them and I say, okay, I got inspiration. Let's do something. Or we do like a model casting call. And it says, how do you calculate the price of an, oh, I can share that with you too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so if I say, okay, I'm having a show or I'm doing something for like a showcase, I definitely love to see the body first before I even start shopping. I know that seems a little backwards because we did it the opposite way in school, but the body, the personality of the person is important to me. And I do take account to like how they move and then the things that they're talking about. I'm inspired by them. And then like for the Fashion Labs fashion show, I know everybody was looking at me crazy because majority of them had everything ready to try on. I had nothing. And it wasn't until I met Baba Joy and Tamara and Jennifer, then I knew exactly what I wanted to make. I can't explain it. But then once I have the sketch, like Mary, I would sketch it out and I go fabric shopping and I touch everything. I touch everything. Um, and then I try to see like how I can combine certain things. And then you know what else, guys? Like I wake up sometimes from dreams and I don't have inspiration. And then I wake up from a dream, I'm like, I got it. And then there it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it happens like that, right, Mary?
Yeah.
I wake up with these ideas and then I go from there. So once that happens, I go straight to pattern making. Once I have and then she comes to the studio and I do a fitting. Perfect fit, perfect fit. After that, we go into the cutting and then sometimes it changes, like the fabric will change, but the design is set. So that's pretty much. And then sometimes I'm designing like on the spot, like for faces. I didn't have anything for Baba Joy to wear. I had the fabric and then I just kind of draped it on her body. But you know, sometimes it happens like that, and that's where the fun comes in. There was a question about pricing.
Yes, I think I'm gonna ask you. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you that again so that we can flow it into the conversation. But that's interesting. I think one of the important takeaways is like you have the different components of or the process. We know the process of designing. Sometimes the process like goes back to front or the middle process, the part of the process comes first. It all depends on what's going on. But at the end of the day, the components are still the same because I know when you did your debut collection, I know you had a concept. It was a beautiful concept. But sometimes you might find that the concept comes a little bit later, or the fabric comes first and then the body comes second. You know, it just kind of ebbs and flows depending on what you have going on. Before we get into specific pricing on the garments, let me ask both of you guys, did you need startup capital to get your business started?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So for me, I started small and then I reinvested what I earned. So that was how I started. My initial capital, I'll say it came from my personal savings, and I got support from local clients. Just like I said, from church members and friends, family members, and that was how I grew. That was how I started. So I keep reinvesting the little that I get. Fashion can be expensive, but starting small taught me how to manage cost wisely.
Yeah. Lucky you, girl. I guess this is good because I had nothing, no money to invest. But what I did is that I just made clothes, and the money that I got from the clothes, I would just invest it into a better machine, and then it kind of just runs like that. I think now, after all of this time, I'm finally I'm seeing the profit without having to spend immediately in. So a lot of that early money, you never really see it because you need tools, you need supplies, right? And there's things that you need for your business. But now that, oh, here's something. What am I thinking? I'm at Cirque right now, Cirque du Soleil. That's how I also made money. So I will work on shows and in theater. And I would tell people all the time, like, alterations, call me. And that's, so eventually I built up to that. So be willing to do everything. Like, even when I started in for the Nutcracker, I did the Nutcracker 3 years in a row, and I started in the laundry. I was doing their laundry, but let me tell you the truth. Doing laundry from let's see, October, November, December, I made $7,000 doing the laundry for the Atlanta Ballet. So you just have to be willing and humble, because I was in there and none of these people know how to sew. Okay, but coming to me,
Yeah.
Dee, can you put on the button? I'm like, you need me to put on a button? Or, like, fix the serger. Nobody knows how to fix a serger. So be humble and just know that, okay, I can do the task. I'm doing laundry right now, but guess what? They called me back, and then I was their tailor. So, like, little things like that. Just know that you start small and then you can always build. But yeah.
That's so beautiful. That is so beautiful. I was going to ask you, how did you get that? Because I know you're at Cirque du Soleil right now, and you're doing their costumes. How did you get that opportunity?
This one, so somebody said, hey, you know what, Cirque is looking for an on-tour person, and would you be interested? And I said, absolutely, I would. So they got me in contact with their wardrobe supervisor, and I went through the process of
Applying?
interviewing, excuse me, my brain, of interviewing, and then they chose me as their head tailor. So I am here very happy, because the last 3 years I've come to the show and I said I want to work on this show, and now I'm working on the show. So yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so
so
beautiful.
it's really it's partial advertising, because I don't even have social media that big. It's very, very small. It's really word of mouth and then reputation. So they hired me because they knew that, okay, I work to my bones and I am friendly and I don't have attitude, and I know what I'm doing. So they can give me a task and leave me. Because the other girl that I'm working with right now, honey, they got a babysitter to where they asked me to supervise her, but I told them I wasn't comfortable with that. But the point is, know what you're doing. Don't tell people that you can do something that you are still learning, because they will find out. Okay? And it will come out in the quality of clothing and all of that stuff. But here's a good tip. If you are trying to get into theater, look up local unions. Look up local theater unions. If you want to get into the movies, look up local movie unions, because I've worked on the movies as well. There is a little bit of nepotism, but never mind that. These people aren't qualified. So if you can sew your butt off, they need you. So yeah, so go to Indeed, try Indeed, just go to Google and type in sewing jobs in my local area, and then scroll, because Wardrobe Arts Center, like, I've worked for the Atlanta Opera, like, you'd be surprised. Like, if you're looking for something, you'll find it. If you want to start in manufacturing, again, there's Lydia Studio, which is one of the places that we went on a field trip for. But then there's also the Faux Goat, which is another local manufacturing company. Like, you got it. If you want it, you'll find it. And I found it. But Google.
I love what you said though about two things you said. Just the humility to be able to start. Like, a lot of people, I believe, if they saw something about laundry, doing laundry for whatever, they'd be like, "No, I'm not doing that." But I love the fact that you could see the bigger picture, and that you didn't mind starting there because you could see where it would lead. And also, I love the idea both of you guys talked about interpersonal skills. You say you're pleasant, you're friendly, easy to work with, and they know they can rely on you and you don't need to be micromanaged. These are skills that are applicable to whatever you're trying to do in life. So that's so important. So let's talk about Natalia's question. She asked about how do both of you guys calculate the price of like the garments that you sell or make for clients?
Ooh, I feel like this should be a workshop because there's so many different layers. There's so many different layers. Mary, you want to take this one and I will jump on top of you?
Yeah, that's fine. It all depends. I'll say when I started is the way I do my pricing is different from what I do now.
Yeah.
So when I started, I didn't have anything. I don't have anything. So I have to start by gather all the requirements, all the things that I'll be needing. Like, okay, this client came, this whatever material you're going to be getting for a size 2 is different from what you'll be getting for a size 10. So how many, if say for example, the client just brought the style, no fabric, so you are the one providing the fabric and everything. So you have to first lay out how many yards of this fabric are you going to be needing? How many yards of lining are you going to be needing? The zipper, the everything, the thread. You have to put that down, put the price,
everything.
whatever the price is, you put that down. And then from there, you know what the actual, say for example, it's a dress, what the actual dress is going to cost. So when I started, I don't charge myself like I do now. Right now, I'm going to check, okay, this dress is going to take me how many hours to make. If it's going to take me 5 hours to make, that is how I'm going to calculate how much am I charging myself per hour for the dress. And the workmanship is going to be different from the actual cost of the material that you're going to be needing. But before, when I started, because if you're starting and you're starting small and you want to do your pricing like that, it may chase your customers away. Because I mean, that's just my belief, because it'll be, if I want to, charge myself $40 an hour and the dress is going to take me 5 hours, that's automatically 40 times 5 minus the material cost. So that means by the time you put everything together, you're already on like $500. Then you check it. How many customer is going to be able to afford one dress for $500? Won't they look at it like, if I go to Ross or Burlington, I can get something close to that for $60? So when I started, I just have like a standard price, like, okay, I'll sell that for $100, but then the cost of your material is this. I let them know what the cost of material is versus what I'm going to charge for workmanship. But now I charge myself per hour, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah, when I started, I didn't start like that. But now I have more like, if a customer walks in here today that they want a dress, a lot of things I may not need to buy again, because now I have enough money to buy. When I go to the store, I only go to the store once. I buy in bulk. Like, I go to the store, I can buy different linings of like different colors. I just put it in stock. Not that I have a client that needs it immediately, but because I have a place, I use my basement now for my work. So I have a place where I can store those, especially when those stores are on sales. I use the opportunity to stock. I buy different color of zipper. I buy different color of thread and all of that. So when a client comes in now, it's different from when I started, that I have to go to the store for everything. Now I don't have to go to the store for most things, maybe only for the main fabric. But for the lining, I have stretchy, I have non-stretchy, I have cotton, I have polyester, I have suit lining, I just have that varieties now. But when I started, it wasn't like that. For every little thing, I have to get to the store. So yeah, that's how I'll say I do my pricing.
Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah.
So how I used to do it, and I've gone through different stages. But how I used to do it was similar to Mary. You have the labor costs and material costs.
Yeah.
I made huge mistakes so that I can share this with you because I did just calculate the materials. I didn't calculate that button on the pants. I didn't calculate the zipper. So a lot of that kind of came out of the cost from me.
Yeah.
What I had to learn though is while clients they want all of these things, there's like two things that's happening. They see something on Shein and then they say, I want you to make this for me. And then you tell them, okay, so this is going to start at whatever that cost is. And then they're like, well, I can get it from Shein. I used to say, okay, well, I'll make it for that much then. Not anymore. Now I'm like, okay, well, come back when you can afford the high quality because there's something that happens even before I talk about price. There's something about the value versus the quickness. What
Yeah.
you're getting from Shein is the quickness. You're not getting the value, you're not getting the quality. It's a one wear and then you toss it because the quality of the garment is probably polyester and it doesn't last long. You wash it, it's gone. But you explain to your clients the value that they're getting. Okay, this is your wedding. You want to look the best. This is let's start with the quality and the value. Now we get into the money because then they say, oh, I want this, but then that's double-faced satin crepe fabric that costs $800 a yard.
Yeah.
They don't have that in their budget. So I bring them into the process. I don't tell them all the money stuff, but I bring them into the process so they understand. So for you, I break it down for myself, how much is going to cost for materials. And similar to Mary, I do break it down to the base cost of the dress in terms of hours. And I do that for alterations as well. So here's a good tip. If you are sewing anything for yourself or for friends, calculate the time that you are taking to do it. So if
Yeah.
you're changing a zipper in a pair of pants, how long is it taking you? And then you divide the hour or the minutes rather. I do it by minutes. So every minute costs a certain amount of cents. The cents add up to the hourly cost. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So if I'm charging $21 an hour, but then it only takes me 12 minutes to replace a zipper, I'm not going to charge the client $21. I'm going to divide the $21 by the 12 minutes, and then that's how much they cost. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, you just got to think it's a lot of mathematics and it's about being fair because you want your customers to feel like they haven't just been gotten.
Mhm.
With bespoke, I take a different approach because I can't say, oh yes, well, hand sewing took me 28 hours. I'm going to charge $40 for the 28 hours that I hand sew. What I do is I say hand sewing, if that's what you want, that is an additional set price. So it's an additional $350. So even if it takes me $700 in terms of time, I've only charged them $350 so that it's itemized. And when they look at my price list, they can then determine if that is going to be something that they can afford or not. Because doing it the opposite way is devastating. Because you'll charge the $700 just for the hand beading, and then they're looking at you like there's no way I can pay that. And they're right. There's no way that because you haven't given them time to process what they'll be paying. It has to be within their budget as well. And I don't know if that helps a
Yeah,
lot or a
it
little bit.
does. It does help a lot.
The other thing I will say is it's going to be important when you have your LLC that you're calculating for the gas costs as well. Please don't forget gas costs, okay? Because those things count, they count. So when I go, I'm a traveling tailor for the alterations. So if I have a client and we have a consultation, they pay $45 upfront, right? And the $45 covers up to 30 miles. So I know that the $45 will cover my cost of gas coming and going. And that's just respecting my time. Plus it covers the talking that I'll be doing with them, the information I'll be sharing, the measurements that I'll be taking. And I saw something about taxes. And yes, I do tax on top of the dresses. So if the dress costs $1,520, I do tax. In Atlanta, I understand it's 8%. I got an email saying that 11%, but I'm not going to charge 11%. But 8% on top of what you're charging. Here's something else too, just before we go on. When you buy your material, say you go to Fine Fabrics, when you price and you say, hey, the fabric costs $7.99, don't ever quote it $7.99, because when you get to the counter at Fine Fabrics, they then quote you $8.57.
Yes.
So now you've got 10 yards that cost $7.99. You haven't included the taxes on that. So make sure you slow down a little bit and then you get all your prices before you give it to the customer, because it should never be more than what you've quoted them. It can be less, but it should never be more.
Yes.
You'll lose them.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Wonderful. Very, very good information. I did want to reiterate that as you continue through the program, about halfway through, you will do the Intro to Fashion, Business and Careers class with me, where you will go through a cost sheet. And the cost sheet emphasizes how important it is to look at every single component of the garment before you determine your price. So just like Deondre said, she learned that she had only been charging for the fabric, but you also have to think about the zipper that you put in there, the button. You have to add every single component to make sure that you are fair to yourself and being really accurate to the customer. And then she's also right in terms of, first of all, you need to add in your labor costs, right? Because the materials that you use to make the garment is not the only piece. You also have to price in the labor and the effort that it took you. But both of them are right in terms of in the beginning, after you add all of that up, it might be a very high cost. So in the beginning, as you're building your clientele, you might want to backtrack on that a bit until you get to that point where you've developed like a certain level, like a certain rapport or a certain credibility, and you have like your customer base is set and growing, so that you can now be a little bit more accurate with your cost.
I'll also add that
go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Don't go below your standard. Have a standard. Set a standard for yourself, and do not, you're gonna deal with different kind of clients that has different orientations, and some of them they know the cost of what you're about to make for them, but they'll try to bring you down, especially when they know you're just starting. But do not go don't go below by producing something with low quality because the client is not paying well. I'd rather let the client go than leaving something low, because whatever you make for them is the language you're speaking to them, and you don't know where that dress or pants or top will get to. And that is just speaking about you. Wherever it goes is speaking about you. So whatever you like people to speak about you is what you should produce. Yeah.
Good. Deondre, you were going to say something.
I was going to say what I charged when I first started sewing, not knowing how much to charge per hour. I would say have a base price. So I started at $15. So if you're doing per hour, I started at 15. Right now I charge 35. But you got to work up to the 35, because if you're charging 35 an hour, it absolutely has to be the quality. Exactly. It has to be the quality. So, I'm not saying that you're a bad sewer or anything. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that you want to absolutely have the quality that matches the price. And then what ends up happening is you you have to be okay to let clients go. No, I hate to say that, but it's true. Don't feel bad when they're like, oh, that's expensive. Okay? Trust that the experience of getting something custom made or altered is worth it. And I can tell you firsthand that it doesn't matter what I charge now. They know that it's worth it. So I have a model who's doing a photo shoot. This is a real example. Like, I'm making her garment like right now. And she's like, I had to have something made by you because it's part of the experience of getting it done and then being treated like she's a queen and talking about her options. All of that is a part of the cost that goes into it. So you will bill to that.
Yeah.
But right now, make sure that you're pricing according to your skill level.
Yeah. Good. It's a good balance. Understand your skill level and that it will continue to grow. Maybe in the beginning it won't quite be there, but like Mary says, you have to have like this limit where I won't go below this, you know? Yeah. It's a nice balance. Okay, so I don't want to take too much of your time. So I do want to ask for one last question, and then what I'm going to do is I'll end the recording so our students can ask a few questions before I allow you guys to leave. The last question that I have is, do both of you, are you working outside of fashion, or are you now at a place where this is 100% of what you do?
Okay, for me, kind of, I'll say fashion is more like 90%, because I do have like a contract job. It comes once in a while when I'm needed. It's like Epic Analyst is a way that I help doctors and nurses navigate their computers when it's newly implemented in the hospitals, but that comes once in a while, you know. But majorly what I do is designing.
Okay, yeah. 90%. And Deondre, how about you?
100% now, Nicola. I'm all knowing, but I will. Can I pause and just go back just a minute? When I decided to join the Fashion Lab, I was still teaching art to students at Boys and Girls Club. It was at the point where I was crying. Like, why am I going here? Like, I was so unhappy that I vowed to never take a job just for the money ever, ever, ever again. So now it's all sewing. So even if the job is small, so right now I also partner with like a manufacturing company, and they call me in. I go in at least 3 times a week just to see if they have any additional things for me to do. Like, it's all sewing. I'm constantly sewing every day. Every day I'm sewing something. So I hope that you can get to the point where you feel your whole time and you're exhausted. It is going to be the hardest and best work that you'll ever do. But I also hope that you are all, Tiff, Destiny, Natalia, Roderick, I hope that you all can 100%. And it's not about like fashion designing, you know? So we see Laura Roach and we see them looking all fabulous and stuff. It's not all about that all the time. And plus, Laura Roach is a stylist. And that's a more, you know, yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Not the same. It's not. Yeah.
It's not the same, but yeah, 100%.
Wonderful. I'm so excited. So what I'm going to do, I'm so grateful for both of you. I'm going to end the recording right now, not because we're going to stop talking, but because I would like to give our students who are with us today an opportunity to ask anything that maybe they thought I didn't ask and they'd like to know. But for now, I'm going to end the recording, and yeah, I'm really excited to keep talking. So hold on one second. Let me just figure out how to end this.